Shout out JB on the beat. It's that Thursday kickoff feeling. Let's go. Let's go. HST moving back with another one. It's kickoff. It's NFL season. Let's go. On this show, we got prop bets, starts and sits. My locks for tonight, my little couple parlays, in case you're confident about Tampa Bay covering. Or if not, you can take them, always take them on the money line. Got DFS, shout out Pat McAfee. There's a DFS play tonight, only a 5-team DFS. It's not a full lineup, but you got your MVP. You got the rest of your 4 flex players. We're gonna drop my lineup for that tonight. I cannot wait. Let's go. Let's go. I think this beat fire too. Shout out to Sean. Alright, let's get into it. Where do we want to start? So, where we want to go with it first? Let's go with the starts and sits. Alright. So, tonight, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Kicking it off, Dak versus Brady. We got Dak returning from injury. And I'm hoping, right? Knock on wood. Hopefully he stays healthy all year. He's a dog. Always puts up numbers. And then he has Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari to throw to. And I got that sneaky tight end play tonight too. My number 1 tight end for tonight. And it may not be who you think. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Alright, let's get into it. We got my starts and sits for tonight. We got Dak and Brady. Obviously, you got to start them in your fantasy lineup. When it comes to the running back, it's going to get sketchy tonight, I think. You got Tampa Bay with the top run defense. And like if we look over here, go to Tampa Bay, and look last year, only 960 total yards allowed on the ground last year on 286 carries. That's a hell of a run defense. D-line, linebackers filling in, Devin White. He's a monster. He is a monster. Absolute monster. So, and you always want to check out on the rushing yards and see how that team was doing last year. See who they picked up this year. And shout out BetUS too. I don't always use them. Usually when they give me a here's 20, 30, 40, 50 in your account, go see what you can do with it. And it's all love too. I love that. I always, because I'm in Rhode Island, I could only use that one. But they sent me this book and it's got almost everything. I did the full 32 team breakdown. Then all of a sudden, dropped the soccer episodes. And then it's like 2 days before my fantasy draft. And as you can see, I got the latest draft board in the background. But 2 days before my draft, guess what? I test fucking positive for COVID. Are you kidding me? And I'm at like the tail end of it now. Still kind of feeling it a little bit. I usually rock around 180, 185. Hit the doctor just recently. This shit is no joke. You know how much I weigh? 165. You can tell me someone who tries to maintain shape is going to drop 10 to 15 pounds like that? So make sure y'all being careful. I'm not an advocate either way. I ain't going to get into no political shit because everyone got their own thing. But just be careful because it can hit anybody, anytime for no reason. So, COVID moons, back at it. Let's get to it. My starts and sits tonight. Already, obviously, starting the quarterbacks. My running back that I'm starting tonight, the number one, is Fournette. He's coming off of big playoffs. And if you look at Fournette and what he did in the playoffs, 16 rushes in the Super Bowl, 12. Didn't have a game under 55 yards. And 3 out of the 4 playoff games for Tampa Bay got in the end zone. So just seeing that, after all year, only getting 97 rushes throughout the year with Ronald Jones in that crowded backfield. And now this year, you add Gio Bernard in there, who's going to be in on third downs. He's going to be coming out the backfield. So that's sketchy for Ronald Jones owners. I always watch week 1 just to make sure. So in week 1, you can never just bank on week 1. It's going to take a week or 2, maybe even 3. And it could even be 4 for them to get in their full groove and for their, fantasy stats to be persistent. So make sure you're watching every week. Make sure you stay tuned. We drop episodes. We back in the mix. It was hectic for 2 weeks. I didn't do a damn thing, man. It was hectic. But we're definitely starting Fournette tonight. I'm staying away from Ezekiel Elliott too. Like, if you drafted him early, you have to start him, right? Because there's always a chance they're going to get down near the goal line and he's going to punch it in for a touchdown. But I don't think he's going to have crazy numbers. Like, his average tonight is probably going to be 4 yards or below. That's what I'm thinking, especially versus a tough Tampa Bay run defense. So be skeptical of that. If you have 3 top running backs, stay away from Elliott this week. For the wide receivers, obviously, starting Mike Evans. You're starting Antonio Brown. You're starting Amari. You're starting CD. But breaking news, I think 2 days ago, Chris Godwin was just added to the injury report. That's never good week of, and especially a couple days before. And it's not like he had a lingering injury and he was added to it just to have a rest day. Like Antonio Brown, he missed practice, but it was like a veteran day just to make sure he's good to go. And he was probably sat out of practice just because they seen what happened to Godwin. It was like, oh, Godwin gets injured. We cannot risk Antonio Brown getting injured. So you're starting those 4 big wideouts, 2 on each team. I'm skeptical of Godwin. And even if you have Godwin, since that injury is so recent, even if he does play tonight, be careful. Because with the quad injury, that's a high re-injury risk. And if you throw him out there, like I remember multiple times last year, like, oh, he's questionable, this and that, but he plays, and all of a sudden he gets re-injured. And then that's a whole position you're out of. You're almost losing if you're playing a good team. Because that's a top pick for a wideout. So tonight, be skeptical of Godwin even if he plays. Gallup, I'd also be skeptical of him too. He's a solid wideout. Had up and down games last year. But if we look right here with Dak, because Dak got injured in that game versus the Giants in week 5 last year. So the 4 games, 2 catches? That's really not going to cut it. He had that one game where 6 of 9 for 138 and a tutty. But if you look at the long, he caught a 52-yarder. That's obviously going to cushion the stats, pad the stats. And those are the games you got to be skeptical over. And, like, look at the one versus Philly. 6 of 8, 121 for 2 touchdowns. But his long was 55. You take 55, you only got 70 yards. That's 5 less points, man. So those are the things you gotta make sure you're locked in with. And these videos, I don't even want this. I don't even want this to show. I just want to look at it. I got my own fantasy show. Alright. And then tight ends. It's tough this year. Like last year, OJ Howard, he was kind of sneaky early on. Let's see if we can get that in there. Early on, before he got hurt, 2 touchdowns in the 4 games. Was targeted, 19 times in those 4 games. That's not bad, and especially when they had Gronk and Cameron Brate. But in this first game, I'm staying away from the Tampa Bay tight ends. My number 1 play for tonight, and it might sound wild, but Dalton Schultz. If we look at Dalton Schultz when he was playing with Dak last year, before he got injured, in the 4 games that Dak was the starter for the whole game, getting notifications. It's football day. It's going to be a hectic day. I cannot wait. But Dalton Schultz caught 17 of 24 targets with Dak last year for 208 yards and 2 tutties. For a tight end that is competing with Blake Jarwin. And Blake Jarwin, he got hurt in the first week of last year. Look at the game right after he got hurt. 9 of 10, 88 yards and a tutty. I think tonight, Dak with that, they say he's 100% with that shoulder. As a Cam Newton fan, I know how that can go. It's tough. But if you look at the stats in those 4 games, 2 games with a touchdown, and if Jarwin isn't completely, because returning from an ACL is sketch, right? Obviously he's busting ass to get back out there, and he's probably feeling good, right? But it's always you haven't really played in live game action. Practice, yeah, you could practice. You practice versus NFL teams like it's a game situation. But it's big different before you actually get in there and you're playing in a live, full speed NFL game, Thursday night opening kickoff. It's gonna get hectic tonight. Let's go. Oh, you hear that? Shout out trash day, son. Make sure your barrels are on the side of the street. And I don't think it's recycling day, so this should be the only time we're hearing this. Give them a chance to do their job. Everyone got things they gotta do and get to, right? Couple little things. Yo, you know what's crazy too? Wait for this to go by. You know what's crazy too though? You gotta set up the barrels just perfect so they can pull up with the little things. Just pick that, boom, drop it in, drop it, and we out. Alright, word. See, that was quick. That was quick stuff. So, number 1 tight end play, Dalton Schultz tonight. I think that should be a sneaky play. If you're in a deep league, that's a solid play for sure. Because this year, there's leagues all over. And shout out Sleeper too. If they wanna pull up. Shout out Sleeper too. This is an ill app. Like, in this league, got the QB flex, 2 tight ends, 4 wide receivers. Bro, and you see my wideouts. If you got 4 wideouts, make sure they're stacked. And grab Najee Harris. I think he's going to be a beast this year over there in Pittsburgh. But I got Thielen, Big Coop going tonight. Who I can't wait. And I got CD in my other league. AJ Brown, he's questionable, but you know that boy. He's a dog. He's going to be out there Sunday. And Brandon Ayuk. I'm looking for big things out of Brandon Ayuk this year, especially if Debo plays and stays healthy. I think he could really have a big year this year. And sleep abs dope too. You could do like 3-team trades. You see the taco going crazy right there. I don't know quite what that is, but I'm gonna be skeptical of the tight end position for the Bucks. It's a crowded tight end field over there. I'd be skeptical just to see who breaks out. Because if you've seen last year, with Brate, didn't really do much throughout the season. And especially with O.J. Howard getting injured early, still didn't really do much because they had Gronk. But if you look at the playoffs, at least 3 catches in every game, targeted 19 times in those 4 games and caught a touchdown. It's sketchy, right? Because you know Bruce Arians, it likes to play the hot hand, and that's got me a little skeptical. Like, if Ronald Jones, if he shows a burst, right, starts having some ill runs, Fournette might not see the field a little bit. But those are the things you just gotta watch out for. And especially tonight with Ezekiel Elliott. Last year he had a bit of a fumbling problem. There was a couple games where he had like 2. And then those games where, and this will actually lead into the prop bets too. We'll give you a little. I think he'll get some rushes because they'll want to maintain, not really push Dak like that tonight. But he had a couple games where he fumbled, right? Had no more than 12 carries. So it's sketchy when it comes to that because if he fumbles once, they showed last year, Tony Pollard, he could do his thing. He could go out there, he could be that change of pace back. And if they really want to prove a point, right? You cannot keep fumbling because next man up. This is the NFL. And even if you are Ezekiel Elliott, and he looks like he's going to be a beast this year. So, I don't know. But if Devin White comes through there, or if you got Sue breaking through the line, catch him off guard, right? Little peanut punch. Shout out Charles Tillman. Bro, if he fumbles, you never know. So, I'm going to watch out for the tight end position tonight. I think O.J. Howard, he could have a good year this year. And especially if you heard Brady a couple days ago, he said O.J. Howard, he's looking like he's going to have a great season. But what great quarterback isn't going to say that about their team, right? You're going to say that about whoever. So I definitely be skeptical about that. For the wideouts, it's with Gallup, he could turn up, and it's really give or take. But you know CD's gonna get his. And if you look at Amari Cooper, especially Amari Cooper with Dak last year, first 4 games with Dak, targeted 51 times. That's insane. He caught 37 of them bitches. He only had 1 game with 6 catches, and that was his lowest with Dak. And it's tough because you see Dak go down, and Cooper only has 1 game the rest of the year where he had double-digit targets. So that's really, really important, obviously, to that team. And Cam getting cut, I feel like I missed so much and I couldn't cover so much when I caught COVID. And I'm over here. You got to worry about your own health. Make sure I don't have to hit the hospital and shit. But I'm like, damn. Like, Ronaldo, he went to Man United. I think my last video I was talking about Ronaldo. Oh, he could go to PSG, but that's only going to happen if Mbappe gets signed by Real Madrid. And I couldn't cover anything. It's been 2 weeks and so much has happened, but I'm amped. Tonight we got NFL kickoff. Let's go. I cannot fucking wait. So let's finish up with the starts and sits. For the kicker position, Ryan Suckup and Greg the Leg Zuerlein, both solid plays. And Zuerlein's a sneaky play tonight. When we go over to the DFS and when we go over to my prop bets for tonight, we're going to give you a little bit more info on Zuerlein. And so maybe some stats you don't know. He led the league in field goal attempts last year. Only missed one from inside 50 yards. Even though he attempted 9 50-plus yarders and only made 3, which lowered his field goal percentage down to like 83%. But if he makes a couple of those, that's going to push him right up there. So, in the defense, you're obviously starting the Bucs. I think they're going to have a hell of a game. They're going to cause at least one turnover, whether it's going to be a fumble or they're going to pick off Dak. I cannot wait. And they should keep Dallas out the end zone. The secondary is not great. They could get to the quarterback, but if Dak plays like he was playing last year, he's gonna get out there and he's gonna put in work. And that secondary is gonna give up yards, but when it gets into the red zone, inside 20 yards, or even inside the 30 or 40, Tampa Bay is gonna lock in. And obviously, NFL team, they're gonna get yards. You got Dak, CD, Ezekiel Elliott, Gallup. They're gonna move the ball. But once it gets into whether or not they actually put it in the end zone, rather to kick a field goal, you see Dallas and Greg Zuerlein, most attempted field goals last year. So there was a lot of, and granted they had Dalton for most of the year, but it's one of them things where I think it will play perfect into Zuerlein having a hell of a game and Tampa Bay keeping him out the end zone. Shout out Body Armor. They ain't no sponsor, but we stopped drinking Monster. Hit that little rhyme quick. You seen that? You see how I did that? Let's do it. So the sits for tonight, covered it a little bit. I'm staying away from Ronald Jones. If you have to start Zeke, you can, but I think he's gonna fumble once. Cause Tampa Bay, they're getting their rings tonight. It's ring ceremony night. You don't think they're gonna be out there flying around, hitting, trying to cause turnovers? I think they should dominate tonight, and they should cover that 8.5 spread. So. And this shit's crazy too, right? I'm still trying to get my win back. There was a fucking, I drop an hour and 50-minute episode breaking down the Premier League and all that. Bruh, fine. All of a sudden you take 2 weeks off. You don't do as much talking, right? You're over there. It's, my lungs, I'm trying to make sure they alright. Shit. Then all of a sudden you gotta build back your lung endurance. You gotta build back fucking everything. But I'm staying away from Ronald Jones. I'm staying away from Gio Bernard. Even though I think Gio Bernard, he could have a sneaky year. If he really produces out the backfield in the first couple games, and we know Brady. We remember him with James White and Burkhead. He loves just, you know what I mean? Quick little dump off. If nothing's there right away, you know the GOAT's just gonna... And Gio Bernard, he's quick too. He's played on Cincinnati, pretty sure his whole career. Now, you go play with the GOAT, who's smart, who's gonna check down like instantly. Like there's no delayed reaction. It's boom, boom, read, not there, boom. Or you pressing it, boom. I think he could be a sneaky piece for Tampa Bay this year. Because they didn't really have that last year. You had Ronald Jones, who's not really, like, pass blocking isn't his specialty. Fournette could go in there. Big body. He could do some pass blocking. But not really pass catching. Fournette's that downhill runner. Ronald Jones, he got the cuts. He's elusive. Not really the pass catching back. So, I'm going to be skeptical of those running backs tonight. I'm sitting them personally. And for the wideouts, Gallup, stay away from him. He had only one good game last year with Dak. And the other 3 games, like besides the one where, right? Besides that one where he caught 6 and 9 for 138 and a tutty, he had that 52-yard catch. In the other 3 games, only 7 catches on 15 targets. That's just above 50. Actually, that's below 50%. That's insane. And didn't eclipse 58 yards in either of those games. And also didn't catch a touchdown either of those games either. So, it's definitely one of those things you got to keep an eye on. And Godwin, we already covered that when we were going over the starts. But even if he does play and he's out there, the re-injury risk is very high, especially for those soft tissue injuries. You're over there cutting and stuff. One bad cut, and it's tough, man. I mean, something like that, especially when you're Tampa Bay, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe, all right, he's left off the injury report right into the game, but not really get as many snaps out there, because you do have Mike Evans, you do have Antonio Brown, you have 3 tight ends that could go out there and pass catch. So I definitely be wary of Godwin tonight. And for tight ends, covered that a little bit with the starts. But Gronk, Brait, and OJ Howard, that's a crowded tight end group. So be careful. And then, obviously, I just wrote it down because I covered every position. But Dallas's defense, stay away. They're going to give up at least 30. You already know. Bruh. Guess who's back. Boom, here it goes again. Gotta let them pass, right? They gotta do the... I thought y'all already went by once. But that's the starts and sits for tonight. That'll bring us right into the prop bets. Some sneaky prop bets tonight. Ezekiel Elliott, my first prop bet. Ezekiel Elliott. I think this is going to be a game where even if Tampa Bay's run defense is as top-notch as they are, I think they're going to want to establish the run. And especially with Elliott, he's going to want to bounce back after last year. He's going to have Dak back. He's going to have that fired-up energy. And his rushing attempts this year, or for this game, sitting at 13.5 for the over-under. I'm going to take the over 13.5. That's sitting at minus 135 on the money line. Last year, 10 of 16 games with at least 14 attempts. And the 4 other games with 12 attempts, 2 of those games he fumbled. And the other one where he had under 14, that was after a game where he fumbled twice. Actually, we'll give you that right now. Just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But like fumbles, boom. Fumbled twice versus Arizona. They lost 38-10. 12 rushes, 49 yards. Fumbled twice. That's insane. But the game right after, another 12 carries. And that was the game after he fumbled twice. So in 2 games before that, versus Cleveland, only 12 rushes for 54 yards. He fumbled in that game, so they brought in Pollard. Versus Washington, where they got smacked 41-16. 10 rushes for 32 yards versus a hell of a defense over there in Washington. Shout out Ron Rivera. He recovered from cancer. It's hectic. I feel like everyone has somebody either close or a little distant that they know that have recovered or even passed away from that. So we know how sketchy that could go, and that's why it was a beautiful thing to see Ron Rivera, former Carolina coach, and even if he wasn't, ring that bell right and get out of there and beat it. That was awesome to see, man. So, and if you look at the other game versus Cincy, they didn't have Joe Burrow. He got hurt. They beat him 30-7 with Andy Dalton. Only 12 rushes for 48 yards. And that's when Tony Pollard, he was getting more rushes, getting more involved. So definitely tonight, I think they're going to want to establish the run. Zeke, if you look at him with Dak, 22 rushes, 14 rushes. And if you're going to want to keep that defense on their toes, you're going to have to establish the run. So I think tonight that's a lock. I think for sure if he doesn't fumble, right? I think he's guaranteed to get at least 14 rushes. Lock it in. Minus 135 on the money line for my first prop bet for tonight and of the year. And we're coming spicy too. Let's go. For the running backs, for the running back on the other side of the ball, Ronald Jones. I had wrote this down, but I had quickly forgot when I wrote it down that Gio Bernard's back out there on third down. So that's gonna take a decent amount of snaps away from both Fournette and Ronald Jones. But I think Fournette's that he should be starting. He should get most of the work. We've seen he was a monster over there in Jacksonville. And kind of a down season. Probably wasn't in the craziest shape, especially when you're dealing with the Jacksonville drama that they were, and especially when you get let go, you know there's something going on. So I think if he could get established tonight, and this isn't a lock, I'm not gonna bet it, but this was just if he were to be that one, like that 1A running back compared to Fournette being a 1B, which I think is gonna be the opposite. His over-under on rushing attempts is 11.5. It could get there if Tampa Bay gets up early and then near the end of the game they start running the rock a lot. But that's sitting at plus 100 for the over 11.5. 9 of 16 games last year with at least 12 rushes, including two of their 3 playoff games. And that's even with Fournette going and putting in work like he was last year. See, I need to pause this. That's sketchy. Because I don't even know if I'm going to hit the copyright. I'm going to have to edit the video and then put it in there. But make sure I cover that. No video showing. Because the last thing I want to do. Imagine that. ESPN hits you with a little copyright. Shit. But even with the quad injury that kept him out of that wild card game versus Washington, he did come back. And 2 out of those 3 playoff games that he did play in had at least 12 rushes. So that over-under is not bad, but with Gio Bernard in there, I'd probably be skeptical about that. Not a lock. If you like it, if you like the stats behind it, you could throw it out there. It's the first game of the year. What are we not going to throw out there? But I'll probably stay away from that one for sure. Let's go over to the wideouts for the prop bets. Got one on each side of the ball. Amari Cooper, over-under on receptions, sitting at 5.5. I'm going to take the over. He's saying he's the best wideout in the league. He's going to want to go out there and prove it. You got Dak back out there. You got CD opening up the field. Even Gallup. Once you got those targets out there, yeah, probably a lot of the focus is going to be on Cooper, but he's still going to get his in. in the first 4 games with Dak, targeted 51 times, caught 37 of those balls. In only 1 game with the double-digit catches and targets. Well, no, only 1 game with double-digit targets after Dak went down. So, he's definitely Dak's favorite target. I'm going to send it over 5.5 catches. You know Dallas is going to be playing from behind. So, they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. And even Tampa Bay, if we go over here, this was surprising. Because Tampa Bay, the wideouts against, if we look at, right, 384 points, fantasy points, to all fantasy wideouts last year. You go look at Dallas, 467. And that's because, because they gave up more touchdowns, right? But 2,800 yards compared to Tampa Bay, giving up, right, just around 2,800 yards, pretty much the same secondary. So I think Tampa Bay secondary is susceptible to giving up a lot of yards. It's their defense locking in the red zone, keeping folks out the end zone. I think that's definitely the thing. And Amari Cooper, lock in over 5.5 on the receptions. That's at plus 110. I think that's great value, especially for a game where Dallas is going to be playing from behind. The other wideout on Tampa Bay, and this is really one where if Godwin plays and he plays fully, which I don't think he's gonna, why risk him in week 1, right? Next week, you got those extra few days. Since you do have that Thursday game, you're playing next week on a Sunday. So give him those extra few days. You don't have to come out and prove anything week 1 or 2 or even 3. But you want that man to be fully healthy so he could be out there. And Godwin's a beast. You throw him out there with Antonio Brown and Mike Evans, OJ Howard, huge target, Gronk. He's getting up there in age, so his snaps might decrease a little bit. But even Cameron Brate, he was getting his targets and catches last year too. So for this game, my lock for Tampa Bay wideout, over 4.5 receptions for Antonio Brown. I think that's a no-brainer. Godwin, probably not going to be in there. They're talking about Antonio Brown. He could be back to his old form. Just think about it. He had those rocky couple years, man. Last year, he got given that opportunity. He joined the Bucs in late October last year, had his first game in early November. And in his 8 regular season games, he had at least 5 catches in 5 out of those 8 regular season games. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And if he's back to his old form, I think it could be a crazy year for the Bucs and Tom Brady. I mean, obviously Tom Brady, the GOAT, he's gonna put in work. So over under, I'm gonna take over on the 4.5 receptions. Minus 145 on the money line. Send it. And going over to the tight end position, I had wrote down OJ Howard, but it's another thing like Ronald Jones. It's a crowded tight end group. His over-under on receptions is only 1.5, and the over is sitting at minus 140 favorite. He's returning from an Achilles injury. Brady was just boosting him in a press conference the other day, saying, oh yeah, he's poised to have a hell of a season this year. But first live game back, just like Dak, do you really want to throw him in the fire right away? Or we're gonna give him time to get out there? Because OJ Howard, that's a huge target. He got speed, he's faster than Gronk and Brate. I think he could be a monster. And in the 4 games before he got injured last year that he was playing with Brady, he had at least 3 catches in 3 out of those 4 games. I don't think Gronk should factor too much into it, especially they're gonna wanna save the vet, right? you're going to want to not, because Gronk, he doesn't need to be like he was on New England. He took that year off, came back last year. But maybe year 2, which I don't think so. Once you go from retirement and you come back out, he came back out obviously to play with Brady. But I don't think he's going to be as important to the team, like statistics-wise. Like obviously the morale and all that and having a Super Bowl champion and being with Brady, you need that on the team. But statistics-wise, I don't think he's going to be a huge factor this year. You got too much to worry about in that tight end group. And if he is fully recovered from that Achilles injury and he's out there balling, and it sucks. I watched, I think it was Minnesota versus Ohio State. I think it was like last Thursday. Bruh, Mohamed Ibrahim, he is a monster. I think he said 7 games. And he plays on Minnesota Golden Gophers in college. 7 games last year, already had 1,000 yards. In this game versus Ohio State, bruh, I think he already had like 150 yards and 2 tutties. And then all of a sudden, boom, goes down. They replay it. And I had wrote it down too. I was like, they showed John Lynch at the game. I was like, could this be the next San Fran running back? Is he there just scoping out? Because his running back's a beast. And then all of a sudden, he makes one cut, goes down, doesn't really look like too much. I'm hoping, you always hope, like running backs making a cut and really like a non-contact injury almost. You always fear it's the ACL. And all of a sudden, they replay it. And it was, oh my God. You seen the Achilles. Like, and it was what I was watching for too. Like when you fully extend, I seen the Achilles. Oh my, it was nasty. You seen it go, and it was disgusting. And this man walked off the field. That is crazy. That boy is a monster. I hope he could get healthy because he's going to be a hell of a running back. He'll probably return since he got hurt so early this year in college. He'll probably return for that other year next year, but it sucks. Shout out him. He's out for the season with that torn Achilles. So Achilles injuries, they ain't no joke. But OJ Howard, if Godwin is out, he might be that Gerald Everett. He might play, you know what I mean? Like that main pass catching tight end. So tonight, over under on 1.5 receptions. He could get there, but it is one of the things you're gonna wanna see if he could get established. Greg the Leg Zerline. This is my last prop bet for the day. Over under 1.5 field goals made. Now I think this is a perfect game for Greg Zerline to put up some numbers and some points. Last year, led the league with 41 field goals attempted. Only hit 83%, but made 31 of 32 kicks inside the 50. 3 of 9 from 50 plus yards, but Greg the Leg, when you're playing for Dallas and you're playing in the Dome, you don't have to worry about no weather conditions. And tonight it's in Tampa Bay, but I'm saying in general, that's a hell of a kicker for Dallas. And if he's somehow out there on your fantasy waiver wire, go snatch him up. Let's actually see. Right? I'm almost positive he's picked up in my league. Yeah. Oh, actually, he's on the team I'm playing today or this week. My boy Zachary. Shout out Joey. I'm playing him this week. And if you follow along with the latest pods and been following along the whole time, he dropped in on at least a few pods, but we were straight cooking. We was cooking for a while. That's crazy. So I'm playing him this week. 90% rostered, obviously, because he's a monster of a kicker. So he's probably not out there, but if you got him, I think he's going to be a top kicker this week. And the over-under on field goals made at 1.5, I think it's going to play in perfect to Tampa Bay stopping them. They're going to move the ball through the air, but they're going to lock in the red zone and inside the 30. And I think he's guaranteed. The line shifted. I just noticed that. It was at even when I wrote it down. It's always dope to see how the lines change, to see where the money's going. But it was at minus 115, even odds, either way. And it just shifted a little bit for the over being at minus 105. I think that's good value. Good value right there. With 41 field goals attempted last year, I think he's a beast. And I don't see him missing two. He's not gonna go 3 of 9 from 50 plus again. He's gonna at least make a couple more of those. So tonight, and this is almost my lock of the night for prop bets. Greg Zuerlein, over 1.5 field goals made. Lock it in. Send it. And that's my prop bets for tonight. See, I was gonna do a little college. Look at that shit. Muhammad, see, John Lynch at the game, 49ers. and that was before. That was before he got hurt. But either way, I think that dude will bounce back and he'll be a monster. So, actually, yeah, let's go over the DFS. Shout out Pat McAfee too. If you haven't seen, go on FanDuel. It's free. There's a free $5 entry for tonight. I think, and it's $4 million in total prizes given out. Granted, there's pretty sure there's a million entries or something like that, so it's almost impossible to get first. But you aren't just gonna get crazy in the money by selecting stuff that is all right, I'm gonna pick these players and they're guaranteed. You gotta take that risk factor. So tonight, my DFS plays for the 4 million NFL Thursday milli. Oh shit. Oh shit. Your boys. Ooh. That shit's cooking under there. So it's a 5-player flex with the MVP. And the MVP for this gets 1.5 times the points. So it's kind of sketchy. But my flyer for tonight, I'm throwing Greg Zuerlein. And it's all by a cap. If you don't really know FanDuel or anything like that, there's always a cap. I think it's 60,000. And you pick a certain amount of players to fill in that. And you got to stay under the cap, obviously. But tonight, I'm putting both quarterbacks in there. Brady, he's going to ball the fuck out. No knee brace? No knee brace for the first time? That's kind of sketchy to me. But who the fuck am I, right? That boy eating avocados, out there throwing balls into the automated thing. I know y'all seen the video. Bruh, and ended up being capped. But he out there, he's feeling good this year. And if I was him, I would be too. So I'm starting both quarterbacks. They're both, I think, Brady 16,000. He's the most expensive player on the market right now. Dak sitting at 15,500. I think he's also a hell of a play because they're gonna have to throw the ball a lot. He'll throw for at least 300. It's just whether or not he gets those touchdowns. I think he'll get 1, maybe 2. But getting in the end zone is gonna be tough for Dallas tonight. So Dak, he'll put up numbers. Brady, he'll have the touchdowns in the numbers, even if Godwin's out. And I'm throwing both quarterbacks in there. Fournette for 11,000. This is a sneaky little stat right here. Now make sure you tune in, right? Oh shit, because time's ticking. Let me get a drum roll, please, for this one. Fournette at 11,000. Last year, he had 6 touchdowns on only 97 rushes during the regular season. Now, if you compare that to Ronald Jones, Ronald Jones had 192 rushes last year. And that was probably Fournette getting back in game shape. You're playing for a team where you want to go out there. You aren't playing for the Jags anymore. You got the GOAT at quarterback. You better run your ass off, or boy, you're gonna be out of there. So if you compare it to Ronald Jones only had 7 touchdowns on 192 rushes. So it's crazy. Fournette, 6 tutties on 97 rushes compared to Ronald Jones. 6 tutties on 97 rushes. And Ronald Jones, only 7 tutties on 192 rushes. I think that's beautiful value for Fournette tonight to take over the starting role for Tampa Bay. Be that 1A running back who'll definitely find the end zone tonight. It's whether or not he could break off some of those runs. In the linebacking core for Dallas, I like Jalen Smith, but it's sketchy, right? I know he's a hell of a player, but then you listen to other shit and it's like, oh, he's playing like shit. Or he has off games, right? And then they pick up Micah Parsons. That boy is a monster. Almost guaranteed to get Rookie of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year this year. Because he's going to be a beast coming off the edge. But even with that, I think Fournette's going to have a hell of a game. He's gonna find the end zone for sure because Tampa Bay is going to be moving the ball. I think, and I'm going to throw this out there. I think he's sitting at plus 1,000 odds to score the first touchdown. That's not bad value at all. Because as long as they don't throw like a crazy bomb, Mike Evans catches an ill pass for like 30 yards and a tutty, or they don't like find Gronk inside the red zone. I think if they get inside the 5, I think Fournette, he'll definitely punch that in. So I'm rocking with Leonard Fournette plus 1,000. That's my flyer for tonight. Lock it in to score the first tutty. I can't wait for tonight. And then my other 2 players that I'm throwing in there in the 5-man flex, 4 million NFL Thursday Millie. I'm throwing Antonio Brown for $9,000. I think he's gonna have a hell of a game. And this is a secondary that gave up 42 points per game to the wide receiver position last year. Dallas, I don't know, man. I don't know. They definitely not gonna be able to stop Antonio Brown, and you gotta worry about Mike Evans too. What? It's gonna be a long night for Dallas. So I'm throwing Antonio Brown in there. And my last one, and we said you have to throw a flyer in there. If you want to get into the money, you can't just pick the obvious. I'm throwing Greg Zuerlein, and I might throw him at the MVP to get the 1.5 times the points. I'm throwing Greg Zuerlein out there. He's only 8,000. I think that's beautiful. Beautiful value. Especially versus a tough defense who's going to hold the Cowboys out the end zone. They won't give up any more than 2 touchdowns on offense. And it's going to be a big day for the kicker because Dak's going to move the ball enough to get into field goal position. I don't think they're going to be able to get in the end zone like that. And Dak, Fournette, Brady, Antonio Brown, Greg Zuerlein. Lock it in. Those are my 5 players for tonight. $4 million NFL Thursday Millie. Let's get to it. Football is really back. You gotta be fucking kidding me. There's no way football is back. That's a joke. It's really back. Let's go. And you already know I had a copy for the new year. Shout out JC Horn. Let's go. And you know what's sick too? Bruh, this shit caught me off guard. What? Keep pounding on the what? When you about a half hour in, you're like, damn, boy's getting tired. And Shorty's just like, what's Shorty gonna say? What's Shorty gonna say? You got the ill stroke in you? Keep pounding. Let's go. Let's go. It's a good day. Now to get into my parlays and the locks for tonight. I don't think it's gonna hit over 51.5. I think it's gonna be tough in Dak's first game back for them to score. I think it's gonna be a lot of field goals out of them. Obviously, if you're listening to the whole show. But Tampa Bay, I think this is the most, the most valuable is probably Tampa Bay minus 440 on the money line, along with the under. Y'all hear that, bro? Yo, these crickets gotta shut the fuck up. Damn, that's so crazy. Where'd that shit come from? Damn. Them crickets over there fucking. They over there getting their shit in. Bye, let's hit it quick. Since that's crazy. Tampa Bay, pretty sure they're gonna cover 8.5. But my lock for tonight, I'm gonna throw in the under 51.5. Add that into both my parlays, and the most valuable, Tampa Bay on the money line and the under 51.5. That's plus 135 on the money line for a 2-teamer. Lock of the night. And if you're confident in Tampa Bay covering, which they probably will, but at 8.5, I've seen a lot of games where they lose or they only win by 8. That would be rough. And that happens every year so many times. But if you're going in, the odds on that for Tampa Bay to cover 8.5 and it to hit the under 51.5, that's plus 260 on the money line. Depends what you're confident with, but those are my parlays and my locks for tonight. Let's go. Send it. I cannot wait. And football is back. HST moon's back. High stakes takes going crazy. Make sure you check out all the latest locks on Twitter at High Stakes Takes. Make sure you check out all the latest videos. New edits on there. Still cooking. Let's go. Had to take a couple weeks off. Make sure these lungs, I can feel it right now, bro. There's no way. I can feel it right now. Just trying to get the endurance back. But let's go. Let's go. First fantasy football show of the season. Back. Send it. And dude hit me up, right? He wanted to get a little shout out. Let's go. Where's he at? I'll in the show with it. This dude.
Yeah.
All gas, no brakes.
Believe that. Let's go. Never lose, only win. Aces up, I'm all in. I got that swag from my dad, man. I'm always on 10. All gas, no brakes. All gas, no
Love you,
brakes.
Pops.
All
I know
gas,
you
no
send those
brakes.
lessons down,
All
bro.
gas, no brakes. Jackpot, I'm counting these bands. Top 5, you know where I land.
Make sure you go check it out. It's
number 1 spot. Mama,
fire.
that man. All gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. Pedal to the metal. I'm zooming. Feel like Ryu. I do again. I'm on that natural vibe, and I'm on that natural high. And I'm on
I ain't
that
on no
little
natural high, but I feel you.
Bullets, man, no lie. It's game time now, baby. So give me the rock. Feel like I'm Jordan, baby. No use trying to block. I shoot my shot.
There's one little smooth part though. Watch.
What do you think the game's over? Go into game mode and just straight put things over. Go ahead and try me. I'll make the minds open widely. Leave you on the sidelines while I make
Eddie Puyo.
for box of wigs. I'm about my
Do your thing, bro. Keep grinding. Keep grinding. Don't stop. Let's get to it.
To the Superman right over you. Aces up.
Go check out that video. He's the biggest video is
Yeah.
actually
When winners only, baby. Believe that. Let's go.
Right? Fire ass Mustang. But I ain't gonna show
Winners
too
only,
much.
baby. Believe that.
Cause he got his fam in there, his kids. I don't want to show it on my podcast. That's a little too personal. But make sure you go check it out. I love dudes just out there grinding, right? Just trying to find a way. He threw his moms in the video, threw his pops in the video. Had the ill Mustang. That shit's fire. That shit's gas, bro. All gas, no brakes. Don't stop, bro. Keep grinding. That ass. You a dog. And NFL Sunday back. Let's get to it. And we'll actually... Where's he at? My boy. Actually, my brother. Shout out Jashawn on the beat. If you need any beats, hit me up. Maybe we can link. Let's get to it. HST Moon back with another one. Let's enjoy tonight. Football is back.